Oink. Hey, Deleterious Ham here. We are learning to play Archeage. We're about 10 levels in, just coming out of the Black Reef Keep. Heading back to get onto the main quest line. We are looking for a ring that has been imbued with the powers of Nui. You'll see we're still having some shop issues. Servers are still a little bit unstable. We are still in the Founder's Head Start, so hopefully this will get cleared up once the game goes live, although any work they do to remediate the issues with the server when this game goes live will probably be counteracted by just the huge flood of people that are going to be playing come Tuesday. But we'll see. And this seems to be a pretty fairly common occurrence when I come into a new zone, just waiting for all of the NPCs to render. Sometimes you can actually turn in a quest when it's like this, sometimes you can't. Looks like I can't really do anything while it's like this, so just going to have to wait it out. That's kind of neat. We have some in-game controls for some of the lighting. You can actually interact with a fair amount of this stuff. Search through the drawers, check the table. Alright, we can turn in quests. Pick up some new armor. Lacton is safe thanks to our efforts. And what do you know, Mayor's got a package for us to deliver, taking us to what I'm guessing is the next quest hub. Now this guy here, the Elder with the leaf above his head, that is the indication for the quest lines that have to do with the Blue Salt Brotherhood, which is where you do all of your crafting and your trade runs. So now that we're level 10, we're going to start to get onto that quest line, which is going to have us do our first trade run, which is going to get us our first donkey, get us a lot of Gilded Stars along the way, which we're going to need to get our Clipper, to get our house, to get anything of significance in the game. So you definitely want to pick up those quests as soon as possible. It's as important, if not more important, to follow those along with the main storyline, just so that you don't fall behind with crafting. And your land grab. Acquiring land is going to be associated with these Blue Salt Brotherhood quests. So it's going to be pretty important to do those so that you can get a spot to farm and build. And I do think, I took a little nap there on the bed. From what I recall, sleeping in beds actually does increase the rate of regeneration for your labor points. Really hasn't been an issue for us. We're at 4,765 right now. We're doing almost nothing that requires labor. So until we actually start crafting, this is a pretty insignificant stat for us to pay attention to. But for people who are not founders, for who are not subscribing, who are regenerating labor at a slower rate, resting in a bed may actually be something that you need to do. Some undead of the Castigan ruins we need to take care of. Grab that quest. Looks like it's in the direction of where we're going anyway, so may as well.
never heard of such an artifact, but couldn't help but remember the ring Iana had given Lucius as a symbol of their love. True, that was long before they'd received the powers they were known for. But it was Iana who'd received the powers of Nui and become the goddess during the expedition. Perhaps when they'd entered the mythical garden, the birthplace of the world. The ordinary ring she'd given Lucius had been imbued with power, just like she was. You searched for what you'd seen of her memories, and a fortress-like prison filled your mind. Had Lucius been convicted? Oddly enough, Iana turned, and you saw Lucius standing at her side. Sloane's home was sparse and compact. Clearly, he had no family. However, the note from the ring box hinted that he did have someone special. When you touched the cushion inside, you got the vivid sensation it had held the ring of Nui. And that it was, indeed, the ring Iana had given to Lucius. How many love stories had that humble circle played a role in? First Iana and Lucius, then Sloane and his mystery love. Certainly the Bloodhounds had no such romantic intentions for it. You combed Iana's memories, but again saw no reference to the Bloodhounds. There was no hint at why the ring would be valuable to anyone but lovers either. And not a clue as to what powers it may have received.
So still no closer to finding this ring that seems to be the object of the main storyline. But let's go overhead and pick up this quest for the Blue Salt Brotherhood. Your merchant recruiting in Liliet Hills is currently giving lessons in proper farming and crafting techniques. So we're going to have to head over there to see what we can do. I don't think we have anything else here other than these undead quests at the top of the zone, which actually should be on our way. So let's grab Lando and finish up with this area for now. Oh, looks like I missed one. So Malcolm swapped the Ring of Nui with one of his own. We can track down his ring. Hopefully we can track down the ring we want. Not really the most engaging storyline, but it is kind of a different story than most MMOs tell. I'm just kind of scouring the tree lines here as we go along, looking either for some ore or for some plants that other players planted in unprotected zones that we can either harvest or maybe uproot, just so I can show you some of the crime points associated with that. Still doing pretty decent damage, so that's nice. And while we do have some kind of grindy quests, you know, kill 10 of these, grab 5 of this, they're not really slowing us down with mobs that are too difficult to beat down. So that's kind of a nice compromise. And you'll see our opener is taking like half of these things' lives. the button that gets in your way to mount anytime you're near your mount really can be annoying for this tab and click targeting system. I feel like I'm just constantly mounting when I don't mean to. And I know I wouldn't have that problem if I didn't have my pet out, but I do want that XP bonus that he gets when he's in combat. So, just kind of have to deal with it for now. Someone down here on the left was looking for more, for a really short 3-person or 2-person dungeon, but they were looking to do the mentoring quests. And that's something that I think is kind of fun that as far as I know, is unique to Archeage. There are quests associated with some of these low-level dungeons that you can run. Let's say you're going to run the quest at level 18 or 19, and turn that in for a reward. There actually is a daily quest for levels 35 and above, I want to say, where they can run you through the dungeon. You still get to turn in your quest as a low level, but the higher level gets this daily reward. It's usually a Guild Star or two, associated with running you through that dungeon. So it's a nice way to just sort of help people get the assistance that they need early on, and give an incentive to the higher level people to help run people through those dungeons. And I think it'll be nice once this game launches, so that you're not having people bottleneck at these dungeons, looking for groups, trying to get things going, failing their way through these things and not being able to complete. You're always going to find a higher level who is willing to run you through it just to do the daily quest. And that seems to be in line with pretty much everything that Trion has done to localize this game, which is to remove all the blockades you have from getting to max level. This is not this insatiable grind to get to level 50. They want to get you there. They want to get you trading. They want to have you participate in the economy. I wouldn't be surprised if they started releasing pots that you can purchase that'll double and triple the amount of XP that you gain, or even allow you to just completely skip levels, or buy a max character like they're doing in World of Warcraft now, because they do seem to want to get you on your way to endgame content. These little animations they have here in the background while we're reading the story text, kind of a nice little touch. A lot of games would just have this static, and you'd just be interacting with this slab of stone. But it is kind of nice that they had her moving her hands while she was talking and animate just a little bit. All in all, the game's pretty polished. And it's definitely pretty. Gonna kill this undead lord. Even this guy's not really doing any significant damage. I kind of thought he was going to be an elite, or at least a little bit more of a challenge. He's up high enough. He should take some fall damage. Yeah, that should just about finish him off. Alright, pretty easy. people in the chat already complaining that there's no land available in the protected zones, which I guess is to be expected. But it does sound like there are still spots available in the contested areas, so if you don't mind PvP, still some hope. Alright, so I just uprooted someone's tree, which gave me a small chance to receive a sapling, so we'll take that. I'm pretty sure what I just did was a crime, since I did not own that tree when I interacted with it. But we're going to be far from the 50 crime points necessary for us to be sent to jail or to trial next time we die. Although, even if we had 50 crime points, death really hasn't been something we've needed to be concerned with. The Dahuta cult is growing in strength in these parts. So my guess is everything in the next zone is going to be killing Dahuta cult members, collecting their paraphernalia, etc. Just like the Bloodhands in the last zone. At least these quest hubs are pretty close together too. So if they reload, we can just get moving through this zone. Get to the main quest line and get to our Blue Salt Brotherhood quests.
The Castigant ruins were a frequent and popular subject for any bard with his salt. Many bards had recast the story as a morality tale about respecting one's betters. But the best version simply presented the story as it was, without extraneous embellishment. Though the Crescent Throne was weaker now, its power had once been vast. A noble had declared himself to be a rival king and built a grand castle to legitimize himself. After a series of intrigues, during which he claimed vast swaths of land and raised taxes, his forces were easily crushed by the Crescent Throne proper. The notoriously bloody battle had turned the soil to crimson mud. Hoping to prevent future uprisings, the Crescent Throne had wanted to set an example. It was no wonder some spirits would be tortured enough to keep wandering.
Okay, know where the ring is. The ring is going to get us onto the main quest. But Genin, of course, wants us to collect him a Dahuta dagger. Like a decent fire. Could you rough up a few of them for me? It's an interesting request. You didn't tell us to kill them. And likewise, this guy wants us to drive them off. I wonder if we're actually going to do that or if we're just going to kill them. But, well, it looks like we'll find that out next time. I'm going to cut this video here, and we'll come back and start killing these Dahuta cultists.